long ago, but not so far away. In a place you won't find on any map, but sure enough between the forests and the mountains, Baratown. This is Foundation, and I am Lord Bara. And today we are going to complete the monastery. So join me as we turn our humble initial monastery setup into something far more grand, far more appropriate for Baratown. I'm not going to base this on anything real world. This is purely from my own imagination, so I apologise if it's not incredible. I'll do my best. What we have here is this initial small monastery on the end of a peninsula. It's in an ideal location, really. It's very commanding, actually. It's overlooking both, I don't know whether it's north or south or east or west flowing of the river, but either way it overlooks the river and it has a great line of sight down both ends. So what I would like to do is magnify that stance, if you like. I want to have the monastery kind of jutting out, overlooking even more, if I can, into the river to try to command the river. I imagine myself rowing a small boat and kind of underneath the monastery, looming above me, something quite grand, but also, dare I say, inspiring? Isn't that what monasteries were for? In fact, that's an interesting question, isn't it? I suppose during the Middle Ages, monasteries were institutions that played various different roles, social, economic, cultural, and they weren't just, obviously their primary purpose was religious, but they also provided other services and functions in medieval society as well. Foundation does touch on that a little bit, so you'll be able to create an emissary, and they will provide some political influence, if you like. But there are some other functions that in-game the monastery is also able to provide. So you can make some meals to feed the monks, and I'll be using the rest of the functions, all excluding one, I think, which will be wine making. But the rest of the functions I will put down and utilize the rest of the game mechanics. Now, I've already got a pretty good idea of the overall design that I want. I've played around a little bit with it and I pretty much know where I want the layout to be. So I'm just going to draw a kind of planned but also haphazard design, as I imagine that this has grown more organically rather than it was planned right from day one. Because, as you know, it wasn't planned right from day one. The purpose of the initial monument was just to fulfill some function. Quite simply, my plan here is to make a large compound that's enclosed completely on the interior. And there's a reason for that. Those of you who play Foundation and you've built monasteries before will know that parts of the monastery can be a little bit quirky and they require you to have an enclosed interior. So I build with the intention of satisfying that requirement. One of the other functions that the monastery has is a kitchen. You don't technically need to build this. You can be quite savvy about it. But if you're going to promote your monks and nuns to brothers and sisters, they're going to have an additional need, and that comes in the form of a monastic meal, I think it's called. It's a bit like promoting a serf to a commoner and a commoner to a citizen. And once you do that, they'll have additional needs that you need to satisfy. But watch out, because it comes in two parts. One is the refectory and the other is the kitchen. So the kitchen is where they make the food. They don't make the food, do they? They prepare the food, and the refectory is the place where they eat the food. So you need both, and both need to be staffed. Also by the upgraded monk and nun, which is now the brother or the sister, and so you need the extra food to fulfill those job requirements. Otherwise, they'll leave, just like the rest of the villagers do. To make the overall build seem a little bit more imposing, I'm going to put towers along all of the corners, and I'm going to use just treasury parts for that, because I don't need to use the other buildings in order to fulfill this. I can, but I'd rather use treasury, because that way, well, I get a 2 for 1 really. 1, it'll look good, and 2, I don't have to waste the upkeep cost for having a larger kitchen than I need, or a larger refectory than I need, or something else. I really want the monastery to have the impression of being built into the cliff face, or kind of hanging off the cliff face, which is what I'm trying to achieve here. Although it takes me a few attempts, especially once I start building the rest of the structure. This piece here is the abbatial church, and you'll get that through completing one of the missions or aspirations. I actually forget which is. I think it might be the builder aspiration, the hard one, but it doesn't do anything special. It just looks really cool. It's like it's got some unique build pieces, some of them around. I don't use any of them here, but they are very cool, and they do look fantastic actually. Some really nice pieces. I should probably won't do this, but I should probably put down some links to some Discord players that have utilized those build pieces in some incredible builds, far more creative than I am. Yeah, I end up just placing down that one single piece from it, the largest building. I feel like it should be more of a centerpiece, something that really stands apart and is made a big feature of. That said, I'm pretty happy with the way that this build turns out, and I think it does a nice job of making that area feel significant. It's pretty easy to do really, because the asset's so nice. Just going to finish off here with some final treasury pieces and get everything lined up and looking as smart as I can. Yeah, ignore the annoyed visitors. I wish this emissary office building that I'm playing with here, this build part, had stained glass on both sides, because I liked it to outlook but also look into the courtyard with that stained glass piece. I think it would look nice, but I don't really have the option here. I could nest the pieces, but I decided against it, and I tried to do something else instead and work with it rather than bend it to my will. These 3 pieces here are all from the cloister, and they are the only 3 pieces that you need in order to fulfill the cloister requirements, apart from having an enclosed interior. So all I've done is create a closed interior and then just drop those 3 pieces down. Yeah, just testing if which door I like, because it doesn't come with a door, but I want a door there, so it looks integrated. There we go. I actually think they're really nice pieces. I get a little bit, not frustrated, but feel restricted by the way that I have to use them. But I make it work. I should probably do a how-to on cloister at some point, because I know it does catch a lot of people out. It's really not that complicated, it's just not very well explained how to do it. This is a little bit of flourish. I like these pieces because they have a little bell in the top, which actually rings as well. Unlike the bell towers, you don't have any control over what they do, but they still ring and they look really cool. Also, you can kind of like place them in between buildings just to give something a bit of accent or finish it off. There we go. Pretty happy with the overall design of that. It's quite simple, but it gives me a large interior courtyard space where I can do some detailing and put some benches, make it look like it's actively being used. Benches encourage villagers, as you know, to come and sit on them, so they'll create paths to them, and it will make it look like it's actually a functioning building rather than just I don't know, a model that you place down that doesn't actually get used. There we go, the fair ended up being merry after all. What would a monastic building be without some crosses? Let's just drop some I can't speak. Let's drop some crosses on the tops of those buildings, shall we? There we go. That was quite a long build, I think, but I'm happy with the overall design. So let's just click go and watch a montage on that, shall we? There we go, all finished. You'll have to let me know what you think in the comments. But that's all I've got time for today, so I'll just say, if you have been, again, thank you very much for watching, and thank you for listening. This has been Foundation. I have been Lord Bara. If you liked it, leave a like, and yeah, Monastery.